what they need to admit is that they gave themselves their own token to the tune of 40% and then distributed it to their community manually, right? That is an unregistered security. You are not allowed to do that without registering it. If you use this technology the way it's supposed to be used and you issue your token from a decentralized protocol that gives everyone equal opportunities to mine from day one, it's a commodity, it's not a security. All right, next one, last couple here. One of my favorite ones ongoing is LBRY, LBRY. So I can't actually read this because they've blocked me finally after all these years of debating with them.
They blocked the three-speak account.
Yeah, because I kept I didn't keep telling them, but every now and again I just tell them that there is not going to be an owner of free speech and of the video infrastructure. It's going to be peer-to-peer operated. And they've always things like, there will be one solution. There'll be one solution.
Yeah.
And so they got their tokenomics wrong. They released an unregistered security. The SEC sued them, and now looks like we'll be shutting the token down. But yet they double down. This is so I can't read this on the 3Speak account, but someone sent this to me. I think Eurosol sent it to me. So I know who was it that put? I can't remember who put it in the room. I think it was Eurosol. So shout out to Euro anyway. But this is so I can read this on obviously a separate account. It says this is the biggest call we made wrong. We thought by being honest and open, the SEC would go after us last, but they actually went after us first because we made it easy. We cannot emphasize enough how important it is to obscure your activity from US regulatory agencies. Holy shit.
Wow.
Like these guys are going to get people arrested.
There you go. They said it, so now we all know.
Well, I want to be clear here, right? Because they're doubling down. What they need to admit is that they gave themselves their own token to the tune of 40% and then distributed it to their community manually, right? That is an unregistered security. You are not allowed to do that without registering it. If you use this technology the way it's supposed to be used and you issue your token from a decentralized protocol that gives everyone equal opportunities to mine from day one, it's a commodity, it's not a security. And there is no debate about it at that point. You know, when you control 40% of your token and you entice content creators with it without having a community vote or a way to distribute that token without you being involved in that distribution process, you are distributing a security. And yes, especially if you're affecting things like free speech and you've got controversial content on your platform, the government's going to come down on you. You are, being open and transparent probably lessens your sentence. You know, if you were obscure, they'd fuck you even more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
double down on this, man. Just admit it.
I don't like the SEC, just like most everyone. I've never heard of a group that's that universally disliked by the people they're trying to protect. However, that's terrible advice. It's like, just because you don't like them doesn't mean I'm sure like the villagers didn't like the tigers, but like you go out, fuck around, you'll find out. You have to protect yourself. So don't go give people terrible advice. Like, oh yeah, just run headfirst into the tiger. You'll show them. Like, you say, okay, look, this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with these type of powers. So now the game has shifted. The game has clearly become, how do you create something that no one can control? No door can be knocked on to take it down. Therefore, everyone is protected. Because the government's not going to go after everyone. They'll go after one person because there's so many things out there with one person that they can flick and get a ton of profit out of. It's endless. Our lifetimes are filled with it. So if you have any kind of the analogy is low-hanging fruit. Like if they go to pull you and you don't pluck, they're moving on. They don't have time for that. So that's the place you want to be. But they're telling you to just be low-hanging fruit and just take it and, double down, make it worse as possible. The mentality, okay, I understand. These agencies are, corrupt and they don't have our best interest at heart. Okay. But they're still very powerful and they're more powerful than you. So if you're not smart, you don't play the game right, you'll get crushed. And there's no point in playing the game and getting crushed. There's no honor in being crushed. There's honor in sustainability, building alternative systems, getting your revenge by massive success, not by duping and doing stupid things to get yourself in even more trouble. And the point is, okay, they're labeled security. Why is their coin being shut down? Where's the community? So these people go down and now it's out. Well, that's 99% of crypto. If you did the exact same thing and you came down on the leaders of the project, everything would fail and it'd crumble and the token would dry up or cease to exist. It's a lesson to be learned for everyone out there how to not create a token. Or they're a coin because they're layer one. They're not a token, they're a coin, which is a much more serious thing, by the way. Know the difference between a token and a coin. You have your little ICOs, your little centralization on your tokens, all you want. You go deal with the SEC. You go creating a layer one where you're preserving freedom of speech. You're trying to create censorship resistance with value transfer. You're dealing with a whole different beast. So this is the absolute worst way you can, launch a layer one of anything. So just
well,
take
I think it,
and learn from it.
I think it speaks a lot, and kind of what you mentioned, like where's their community at. And I feel like anything that we build, ultimately should come with this in mind, that no matter what happens to us, it can live on. And, I mentioned earlier about open sourcing dbuzz. And that's really the reason, is like, no matter what happens to me or Chris, we want what we've built to be able to continue on and live on. And, the community's there and the code's there. So, if LBRY was built with that in mind, maybe their community could kind of carry it on, but obviously that's not going to happen.
Yeah, not when you give yourself so many tokens from day one. I mean, it's a shame because the technology is really good. Yeah, they've built a desktop app in the same way that I was just describing. They've got their apps are great. The technology is great. It's just, and maybe it's because when they did their tokenomics originally, they were so pushed pushed by the community or pushed by themselves personally to bring out a token to self-fund, that they used essentially old Bitcoin economics back like 6-7 years ago when this all kicked off. They didn't reinvent the tokenomics at the same time they were reinventing video infrastructure. And so the tokenomics never matched, and they just ended up, whether it was purposefully or by mistake, ended up putting a load of tokens in their own accounts. And that's, at that point, the SEC must have been salivating, especially when it comes to free speech. Whereas we never took that approach on Speak Network and Free Speak. We never released the token as quickly as we could, because we realized that you can get funding from DAOs as long as you provide that DAO community with some value, which is what the Speak Network will do for Hive. And Hive, as a result, has voted us to be funded through their DAO. That is a decentralized decision. So there isn't like centralized strings attached to the funding. So it means that, for us, we're true to Hive. We've been around the community for a long, long time now. And so we've built up enough trust, we like to think, that people will vote for that proposal and put us through to funding. And here's the thing, we don't personally gain anything more than anyone else does out of this project, right? This is the whole point of these things. There is no we're putting some tokens aside for ourselves, or we're going to enrich ourselves with this. No, it's all open source. It's all built for the community, and it's all built for the benefit of the community. And we start off with 0 Speak tokens. We mine the Speak tokens from 0 on day one, just like everyone else. We drop the miner tokens to the Hive community. So every Hive holder gets tokens based on how many Hive they hold. And the basis of that was the fact that we believe Hive is also a decentralized protocol that has no founder, no CEO, no ICO, no pre-mine, right? That was all deleted and taken out from Steam, gutted and put into a DAO on Hive. So that's the principle that should be followed these days. And we don't understand why there's still projects releasing ICOs. Unless you're doing I don't know, a coin about cutting hair or barbers or something. It's not really going to shake the tree, but when you're doing something like free speech and communication, setting up the ability for users to make their own identifications without KYC, setting up the ability for communities to self-manage themselves and preserve themselves and have immutable communication, and then governance rights for each account as well, that rocks the boat. And you can't compromise on the decentralization of the token. You have to release a token in a fair way.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to have your layer 2 ICOs or whatnot. Layer 1 absolutely has to be censorship resistant. And just to point out, while you see people trying to force technology in, and they sort of brute force a community via an ICO, because you can control the technology. You cannot control censorship resistance. If you look at how Hive was born, it happened to us. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This was something that we didn't wish for. So the tech has always been lying around, and there's these honeypots of communities, and it takes some kind of pressure for them to form and create censorship resistance. It's almost like digital diamonds, if you look at it that way. So what happens is you have all these people who are very anxious, and they're like, well, I want the protocol to work now. I built this technology. I want funding. And what they'll do is they will sacrifice censorship resistance, the distribution, by having some kind of insider sale, trying to force this technology into existence. Whereas there's enough technology out there, and I believe we're going to see more censorship resistance pop up as people start to have their community forks or start to put pieces together in a voluntary way where they aren't paid to. They don't need VC funding. And that's how it is. We have the environment. We have the petri dish for censorship resistance. We've seen what happened, Hive. That happened on itself. No one forced that. You can say Justin Sun forced it. No, he didn't. He couldn't have forced the community to act the way we did. So that was a circumstance. It was serendipity. It just happened in this little ecosystem that no one had control over. And VCs hate that shit. They hate it because they can't manufacture it. They can't recreate it. They can't mold it, package it, and monetize it. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the separation of real, raw communities taking this technology and knowing that they have unlimited power. They can't be stopped. The ball is now in our court for the first time in I don't know how long. And we're rising up, taking advantage. And then you have the charlatans. You have the people here just trying to take advantage. And then you actually have people who are sort of in between. They're like, they want censorship resistance, but they want it now under their own terms. The Elon Musk or the Jack Dorseys or whatever the hell you want to call them. And you'll see them try to force it, and that's not, or either force it into existence or try to play the hero and say, well, I'll do it for you. That's the mentality we're seeing now, and that's sort of
they want free speech as long as they like what you say.
Yeah. All humans are that way. That's why you can't. Yeah, that's why you can't rely on one person because all humans have biases, no matter who you are.
It has to be ownerless. It has to be ownerless.
Yep. So it's exciting times though.
I want to conclude this part of the chat by just asking people. I've posted the link underneath this Twitter Spaces. I've posted it in the Discord chat room. Please comment on the LBRY team and invite them. We want to. I mean, we can't personally invite them ourselves, but as a whole community, we should invite the LBRY community to come become part owners of the Speak Network. They keep running the same infrastructure. They can reward their community, right? If the LBRY token is going to be shut down, which it clearly is, I mean, the SEC's, they've had enough with it. There's no reason that the LBRY community can't do exactly the same thing as doing on LBRY by running infrastructure on the Speak Network in the same way. It's encoding, it's storage, it's content delivery infrastructure. And they can earn part of a truly ownerless, decentralized Web3 incentivization protocol that is on an ownerless layer that no one controls and that's been released properly, that can't be classed as a security. That's where we want to add value to LBRY, and we can critique what they've done. Maybe it was a mistake, maybe it wasn't, but they are where they are. And so I would as a member of the Speak Network community, I would like to extend an offer for them to come and check it out and maybe come and even earn some of their own part of it by mining the token by providing infrastructure. We really think there's a window there for them to continue their projects and keep funding their community.